HRV stands for heart rate variability, and so it's a metric of the time between each individual heartbeat. What dictates the rate or the speed of your heart rate is the interplay between two elements of your nervous system. So the parasympathetic nervous system, which is associated with rest and digest, and the sympathetic nervous system, which is associated with the fight or flight mechanism, which is a stress-related response. Because HRV is reflective of the interplay between those two different elements of the nervous system, it's effectively a marker of the athlete's current stress state. And then when you understand where that value sits with reference to that athlete's normal range, you can start to build up a structure in which you can determine whether you need to flag that an athlete may be on the verge of something adverse happening. They might be getting sick, or they might be on the verge of overtraining.
I'm Sophie Edwards. I'm a part of the Australian cycling team and I'm a member of the women's team pursuit squad. I think people probably don't realise how much data goes into a sport like cycling or track cycling. We get data while we're on the bike, like our heart rate, our power, but then also absolutely when we step off the bike, when we sleep, we look at our resting heart rate, we look at our HRV, our sleep scores, our temperature. There's so much, and every piece of data just really builds into this puzzle of what might be happening at any point.
With the advent of wearables over the last 5 to 7 years, we've been able to have tools that can measure heart rate and HRV continuously to a sufficient accuracy level that is acceptable for these kind of measures. So these tools typically record heart rate and HRV for the duration the individual is asleep. There's two that stand out in terms of accuracy and reliability, and so number one on the list is an Oura Ring. The Whoop band is another alternative which we have athletes wearing. These third-party devices, they've got metrics in their app which kind of gamify the whole quantification of your physiological state. And so some of that's good because it creates awareness and people are interested in how their physiology is changing, how they're sleeping. But it's also not so good because some of the metrics don't have any validity at all. And so the beauty of the Lumen platform is we can strip away all of that fluff and we can extract the raw data based on the research, and we can design our analysis and interpretation package how we want it.
The data that we get allows us to stop and think, look, is it actually the right time to just take an easy day? Sometimes I might not have even been showing any signs of sickness yet. And the next day I suddenly, come down with a cold or a cough or something. But because of the data that we've got, we've been able to stop training that day earlier. I can get over the illness a little bit quicker than potentially if I'd kept pushing through training, and then get back to it, as I said, as quickly as possible.
With the Lumen integrations, it saves masses of time. So as an example, when I first started doing this, it's only 5 years ago when I started rolling it out with athletes at AusCycling. There weren't wearables, so we were using a heart rate strap and recording heart rate, and then I was manually importing that data into an Excel spreadsheet and then doing the analysis myself. So, for a squad of 10 athletes, that's an hour a day of my time. So yeah, with the Lumen integrations, it's saving 7 hours of my time a week, just in, extracting data. Through my role at AusCycling, and AusCycling's partnership with Lumen, we first deployed the platform with the Para program, primarily because as para athletes, they've got a lot more things going on in their life. They've got a lot more stresses with their impairments, and decisions made. Decisions on training can potentially have worse consequences if we get them wrong. So again, it was more of a pilot and scale kind of approach where the Para program was identified as the pilot program with the most warranted use case initially, and then that was deployed in the AbleBod program in the endurance space, and now we've even got BMX Freestyle using it.